Hi, everybody. We're so glad you're with us today. I'm Brenda Viola with Medical Solutions Supplier and LymphaPress, and we've been shining a spotlight on women who have forged a new path in the world of lipedema. This is a painful fat disorder that affects about 11% of the population, largely goes undiagnosed, and yet these women are brave and resilient, and they look for answers and they inspire others. And one of the women that inspires others that I just had to talk to is known as Curvy Girl Beth. Did I say that right, Beth?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Curvy Girl Beth. Her actual name is Beth Rylaarsdam, and it is so nice to have you here from the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast, but we're going to have a great conversation.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
So Beth, you are used to being the interviewer. Tell us how that all came about.
This month, during June Lipedema Awareness Month, I decided to use my platform to really connect with as many voices in the lipedema community as possible. And, you know, as you might imagine, just amongst our, women with lipedema sisters, I guess we would call each other. We have such a plethora of talent and diversity and knowledge that I just decided that we should get the word out to everyone how differently people are working toward managing their lipedema. What do they do? What's their experience? And in the hopes of certainly educating everyone, but also in the hopes that, you know, somebody could glean something from each of the conversations. And so that's really how that started. In addition, I started this month doing a joint workout with another fellow lippy lady who is in the UK, Karen Windsor, and she is a true thriver and has transformed herself and really works with patients as well. She is a therapist that does hands-on work with with lipedema women, and then also another a personal trainer who's had experience with women with lipedema, and he's out of Chile. So two days a week I actually did a live workout, hoping to encourage other lipedema ladies to join in and follow along and know that it's not, I'm used to going to the gym, so this lockdown for me has been a different experience, and that was kind of a way to remind us all that we really can do home workouts, and they don't have to be crazy. And really for us, any movement is good movement, especially in this lockdown where most of us are getting in just even our daily steps that we normally would get in, even if it's just somebody who goes from their home to their car to their workplace to their car to their home. They still have gotten way less steps in this lockdown than is typical. And so everybody's lymphatics really need a little bit of help. And so
and
that was just
spirits do too. You've done a great job of lifting spirits, not just encouraging people to move their lymphatics, but I want to go way back to where you said, wait a minute, there's something different about my body. How did you even get to the point of getting a diagnosis? When did it start to show up? When did lipedema start to show up in your life?
So for me, I never had that moment. I never thought that my body was different, other than, I thought it was bigger than my best friends, but I didn't ever think it was like there was something wrong, like, oh, why is my leg growing, or why do I not have knees, or that kind of, I never thought there was any reason outside of myself for that. So in my situation, Dr. Herbst has ruled is not the right word, diagnosed me as a congenital condition that I've had it since birth. And for me, it probably started officially showing up around the age of 6.
Wow.
I can remember when I was 8 and I went to Girl Scout camp, and I was, just supposed to go in a canoe. And I was like, I'm not getting in that canoe, because I knew that if I lifted my leg off of the shore and placed it into the boat would sink. So that's what I thought as an 8-year-old girl. Now, I was bigger than my best friend, but I certainly wasn't bigger than any of the camp counselors or any of the adults that were getting in and out of the boats or that kind of thing. And so this was, now in retrospect, like, I must have inherently known that my leg was heavy. I have never been the type that feels like I have heavy legs or feels like I have pain. And I don't, I can go for a massage. So I think, oh, I don't have any pain. But I actually had a consultation with a physician about 2 weeks ago, who was like, can you squeeze squeeze various areas on my legs? And I was like, ow, that really hurts. And he was like, well, good to know, because of course it does. What did you think? And I was like, because I mentioned that I generally don't have any pain. And he thought that was brilliant to operate that way every day. It was great. But
Yeah.
let's really assess, what is your pain. Just because you have a high threshold and you've lived with it your whole life and you have no
Yes.
idea, doesn't mean you don't have it. And so sure enough, I have a lot of pain. And
Let me
so that
interrupt
was
you
kind
for
of
I just want
interesting.
to ask, so, a lot of women that I speak with, because the point of these interviews is to have people recognize something and say, oh, that's me. Oh, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
So the level of pain is usually so constant, you don't even realize it's there after a while. Is that a good
I think
characterization?
so. Yeah, I think so. And I think, conversations that I've had over this month have really brought it to the forefront that, like, for those of us who've had it forever, we just, and who are thrivers, I've never let it stop me from doing anything. Um, uh, so, we just don't know. We just don't know that we've had pain. We just didn't, it's just our way, we just thought this is how it is. I thought everybody trying to get, who weighs a certain amount, to trying to get in and out of a car, has to throw their leg in and throw it out. And it's not an easy feat. I didn't realize that, lipedema fat weighs way more than regular fat does. I didn't realize that it feels different, that it looks different. I just thought this was all me.
So at age 6, you knew something was a little different. Then as you got into your preteen years, what was that like? And you got some family pressure too, to start going on a diet?
Yeah. So, naturally, at that puberty time, I was starting to round out as get my womanly shape. And so my hips became a little pronounced, my butt became a little more pronounced, my thighs became a little thicker. And so I, was kind of warned that perhaps I should want to slim out before I got to high school, because, the boys weren't going to like such thick legs. And I, probably would want to think about going on a diet. So I went to my first Weight Watchers when I was, I guess it was in the 8th grade. And, that was when the insanity really started. I think when I was in the 4th grade, my mother put me on what probably would have been a, like a low carb diet at the time. Like I had, when I came home from school, I was allowed to eat sunflower seeds. And I think I had yogurt for breakfast. And in my household, we pretty much didn't ever, we never ate like what we looked like. Because my mother actually had lipedema as well. Not that anybody ever knew anything about it, but she fought tooth and nail always. She did not have the workout piece like I have always had, but she, she did every possible way to constantly control. And, eating was always very healthy in our house, but that, that really didn't matter, because.
And that's the frustration of this condition. And yet I can only imagine in your mother's psyche, it was like, I don't want my daughter to have what I have. And that
Exactly.
projects on you. So you go through a lifetime or a youth of going from diet to diet. Was that, how did you feel about yourself though? Because you're a supremely confident person. Did that
I
take
was,
some time to develop, or were you always that way?
I mean, I think I was always taught that I was, I was smart. I could do anything. Um, my only attribute or my only second guessing, I guess, was my sports inclination. So I didn't do sports. Well, at least I thought I didn't. But I was the dancer from first grade to 12th grade. So I did ballet, tap, and jazz twice a week. Then I was in the kick line and the baton team from 7th grade through 12th grade. So then I had, 2 nights a week of practice for that. And then I did, the games on the weekends. So I was like, the original aerobics queen before, like you didn't even know about that kind of thing. And I just thought I didn't play sports. I thought I didn't ever work out. I didn't, I had no physical fitness, but that was a joke because that was all I did, you know. And so for me, then when I went to college, I all of a sudden was out from the small portions and proper eating of my mother, and I went through the meal plans at school, and I always picked whatever had the most the most rice, the most bread, the most whatever it was, and gained weight then, and really finally had to buy clothes in a plus size shop. And so that was the beginning. But in addition to adding in the carbs, I also took away all the exercise. So, I was then going to class, sitting around, that kind of thing. Yeah, I had to walk across campus, but that was incidental compared to all the other activity I had previously had. So, yeah, that was, that was the beginning. And truthfully, I also went on birth control then because I was diagnosed right in my first year with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And so they gave me birth control pills to control that right away. And I imagine that influx of those hormones now, knowing what I know about lipedema, certainly contributed to that weight gain as well.
I'm thinking about that because I mean, I gained, they call it the freshman 10. I gained the freshman 20. It was, pizza and beer all the time. But with lipedema, it's not about what you eat, and it's not really about the exercise, because you can do that until you're blue in the face.
Yeah, I mean, I
Condition.
do, sorry to interrupt you. I do think though that it really, I think that when you are including exercise and eating clean, you can really manage it. I think that it goes like wildfire when you don't.
Very good point. And we want to talk about how you've learned to manage it. So then the combination of going to college and then introduction of birth control pills, that exacerbates the situation. How much longer did it take for you to actually get a diagnosis from Dr. Herbst?
Forever. I've only been diagnosed since October of 2017. And I actually was diagnosed by Dr. Eicher here in Santa Monica.
Okay.
And yeah, I walked in when she walked in the door and she saw me, she's like, who referred you? And I said, oh, I referred myself. And she said, what are you here for? And I said, to see if I have lipedema. And she's like, is there a question? And so she's like, you are classic, my dear. You are classic lipedema. And I said, oh, okay. Well, I kind of thought maybe, seems so. And she's like, yeah, there would be no doubt. And then, proceeded to do all the, investigations, as well. But she did not, it was kind of funny. So
you found Dr. Eicher yourself, like so many of the lipedema women I talked to, searching for someone that looks like me and someone that treats what I look like.
Correct. And I had been, so in my journey, I actually, so I gained some weight, I gained weight during college. I didn't finish out college. I probably finished out college about 20 pounds more than I started at officially in the end. But, you know, I had been on a little roller coaster during that time. So in the summers, I would lose what I had gained and, you know, that kind of thing. And then, after that, I had a move. I moved to California. I then again, you know, had life situations where I gained a tremendous amount of weight. And so I actually have been much bigger than I am now. I've been about 160 pounds bigger than I have been than I am now. So I kind of
Also
know
a whole
both sides, and
person.
I've also been about 60 pounds smaller than I am now. So I've been in both arenas. I had a concussion and was getting treated in physical therapy at a new physical therapist, and she starts doing all these tests. She's touching my toes, she's touching my elbows, she's touching my arms, she's touching my knee pads, and I'm thinking, what does that have to do with concussion? Well, and I thought, oh, she's so thorough. And she's asked, oh, have you always been shaped like this? And I'm like, yes, of course. My mother's Italian. I'm shaped just like her. Oh, your mother was shaped like this, you know? And she's
Mm.
keeping her game face on. And the very next day, I had a friend who was doing keto, and she was telling me how if she had to do it again, she would use this keto coach, and that is Keto Katrina. And she said, so I look up Keto Katrina and I read her story, and her story is about her journey with keto and having lipedema. And I thought, what in the world is this? Are you kidding me? You know, I have been on every diet in the world. I have been medically supervised. You know, no one has ever brought this up. And how is this even possible? And sure enough, you know, the more I read, I was like, this is me. This is my life story. And that was what led me to Dr. Eicher. So that's how it worked out.
I have heard of Keto Katrina. It
Yeah.
seems like everyone I talk to, there are different threads and different things that I learn.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
get the diagnosis. I had to chuckle when you said, well, we're Italian, because, you know, I understand Brenda Viola, totally.
Exactly.
What about the evolution to not just finding how to manage the condition, but creating, how did Curvy Girl Beth get
So
created?
that's actually a funny story. So about 4 years ago, I decided to go on an awakening journey. My son just turned 13, and so he was at a point where he was old enough to kind of be a little self-sufficient. He didn't need me in his hair all the time, and I could, you know, kind of take a little look at myself and some time for myself. And so I decided I was going to get back to doing things that I love to do, and be a little bit more involved in self-care and stuff like that. And so I started working out again. I started contacting friends that I had, you know, not seen in a long time. I had, you know, really started looking at mindfulness and relationships, and you know, what kind of things do I want to learn, and all that kind of stuff. And I was a parent leader at my son's school, and because of that, I got kind of brought to social media. I wasn't on social media before that. And so, okay, I'll join the living and I'll become part of social media.
I'll join the
And so,
living.
yeah, I mean, I was like, I would get all these, I had an account, but I never did anything with it. And then I saw all these friend requests and I thought, oh, okay, I guess, you know. And I had previously had a policy like, you can take my picture, you can post it, you can do any of that, but don't ever tag me. I don't want to know, you know, like I can be, you know, if I'm with you, I'm fine to be in the picture, but I'm not having that, you know. So it is really quite a transformation. But I then decided, again, you know, somebody, oh, you got to do Instagram. And I was like, oh, please, no, forget that. But okay, yeah, sure, I'll make my account, blah, look at your pictures, the whole deal. And then when I had the diagnosis, so I had October 17, I got the diagnosis. Then I went to my first fat disorders research Society convention in April of 2018. And I got involved right away. I started volunteering for registration. I was in the fashion show. I was, you know, just helped out through the weekend, and really shocked that there were all these women who were like me. I was amazed. And because of the fashion show, so many women came to seek me out because they thought, you know, oh, how could she, you know, I was classic. I'm classic for, I like to buy clothes that are not full price. So I think I had one outfit that maybe cost $50 in total. And it was, you know, I got a dress for $8 and my shoes were like 15, and my tights, I think I got at Walmart, or, you know, something
And
like
you
that.
look like a million.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, relatable, very relatable, you know. And so I thought, you know, this is interesting because maybe this is it. I've always had, used to do some plus modeling in the day, and I actually had just started doing some back before this, and this convention. And then I had, I just thought, you know what, maybe there needs to be a voice. Maybe I need to bring some awareness to this lipedema. Maybe I need to be a voice that other women wouldn't, you know. And so I thought, well, but first I have to let the people know in my world that I have this thing, because this is really embarrassing. This is like, I have not only, and you know, I live in Los Angeles, so not too many people look like me. And I thought, well, it's not only bad enough that, you know, I'm fat, but now I have this fat disorder. And I had just really come to absolutely loving my shape, right? I had just gotten to this whole body, like, I really like the shape of my body. Would I like things to be different? Sure. After all that massive weight loss, I have saggy legs. I would like my legs to be tight and smooth. Okay, you know, so how does that happen? I don't know. And so in any case, and I thought, you know, it's really okay to be curvy, and it's really okay to have a butt. And so let me set out in educating the people in my little small town of Los Angeles, Studio City. Let me start letting everybody know it's really okay to have a butt. And so that was how my Instagram got started. And I thought, I started in January, and I thought over the 6 months, I'm going to get to June for Lipedema Awareness Month, and then I'm gonna lay it out and be like, hi, I have this thing called lipedema and blah, blah, blah. And so I did baby steps, you know, like I would maybe have a conversation with a person, or when I went to the convention, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to a medical convention. And then they're like, you're not a doctor or a nurse. What are you going to a medical convention for? And so I would drop little tidbits along the way. And then I think just last summer, I was back in New York. I went to a casting call. I had started doing some lives in June because I was at a different convention, another healthcare company that I was doing some work with. And so I all of a sudden was like, well, I guess maybe I really need to start, you know, combining the plus modeling with the lipedema awareness, and let people know it's really okay to, you know, not only embrace, you know, it's okay to be you. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be unique. And so really my platform for this year, for 2020, is I just wish that everybody could embrace themselves regardless of their situation. Everybody has something in their life that they don't exactly love. And if you just could embrace it and accept that that is where you're at, doesn't mean you have to always be there. Just you're there, and that you're unique. If we would all tap into our uniqueness and celebrate that, we would live in a different world. We really would. And if everybody wasn't always trying to fit into whatever box we're being sold, we just would have a whole different mindset. And it would be amazing, I think.
Women
So
like
that's
you,
really,
yeah, you're changing the face of what beauty is, and in changing the perception. I think society is at a pivotal point as well. And the more women that embrace their curves and whatever their perceived flaws are, and own it, and are proud of it, it gives other people the courage to do the same. So you are not just someone who sits back and has a condition. You manage it actively. So now we don't give medical advice in these interviews, but what do you do to manage your condition that could maybe inspire someone else out there?
Yeah, so I have a few key pieces that do help to manage my condition. And for me, managing means I'm trying to keep my strength, I'm trying to keep my mobility, and I'm trying to improve those as much as I can. And then I'm trying to make sure that I'm the least inflamed I can be. And so during this lockdown, I have really added some different things that I haven't done before. And what prior to lockdown, pool, water movement, and vibration plate were the things that really helped me the most. I have a lot of fibrotic tissue. So, you know, I have always been kind of like a brick house. You know, if you wanted to come and try and, you know, pinch my behind, you're not going to get much of anything because there wasn't anything to grab, you know. I used, you know, kind of the original body smoothers or shapers so that it would smooth me. It wasn't to hold me in before because I was already held in. Um, and so I've been doing that for years because of the way I wanted it to look. But I have added custom graduated compression that I utilize. Is from Lipoelastic, and that is like phenomenal for me. I feel like it's hard to explain, but I feel like I don't feel my legs in a good way, meaning it makes me realize that when I don't have them on, I actually feel them. And, you know, so it makes them a non-issue. I don't ever think about them when I have those on. I do vibration plating daily. I do some dry brushing daily. And I have incorporated a bit of reflexology. And then I do anti-inflammatory eating as best as possible. In this month of June for lipedema awareness, I've been doing the carnivore plan. I don't have a gallbladder, so I don't do as high fat as maybe might be recommended. It's more about me doing zero carb and eating protein. Protein works best for my body. And I think I have seen a bunch of, my tissue has loosened up tremendously since the beginning of lockdown, tremendously. And
that means that the fibrosis is breaking down.
Correct.
From all the different things that you're doing.
Yeah, so it's not a pretty sight, you know, as far as I'm concerned. I can see all the lumps and bumps very vividly now. And as if I couldn't before, you know, I thought it was bad before. But I think that that's great because it means that I can continue doing this kind of thing and I can really start to activate doing some like other modalities like gua sha and fascia blasting and maybe some Graston technique where you're just, you know, kind of trying to work those nodules out or down a little bit. And that was one of the recommendations that Dr. Herbst had given me. I saw her in the office last year, and that was one of the things that she had done. It has been recommended since my diagnosis because of the weight loss I had previously had years earlier and the consistent clean eating and exercise I've been doing for years, that I really have surgery to remove the excess and really free up my system and not put it in more danger for future, for, you know, potential knee replacements and hip replacements and that kind of thing. And I just have had a number of different health issues that have prevented me from doing that so far. So I don't know what that looks like going forward, but you know, we'll see. Every day is a every day is a new day. And so
And there's so much research being done. I think
right,
there's finally, or maybe it's because I finally caught on, there's more momentum right now than there ever has
definitely,
been. How important
absolutely.
are organizations like the Fat Disorders Research Society or the Lipedema
Yes.
Project or the Lipedema
Yeah.
Foundation or Facebook groups or social groups? How important has that been to you to be connected in that way?
Very important, very important. I think that, you know, I'm somebody who wants to know the research off the top. I want to be on the forefront of knowing what's going on, what are the next steps, what are the choices, and really trying to help kind of lead the um, awareness, I guess would be the word, you know, make sure that we're all in the know, because as we have more voices, that's great. One of the things that has just been a side effect of me trying to tell my, you know, few people in Studio City that it's okay to have a butt, is that I have grown a pretty fairly good Instagram following. And, you know, the modeling, of course, certainly has helped with that. But a lot of followers, I have a lot of male followers, and it really, to me, is phenomenal because the education keeps going. You know, this is obviously, if someone finds me attractive, they know other women in their lives that have this same exact condition. And the more vocal we can get, the better. So the more knowledge that is out there that this is a real condition, that, you know, I use the example of, you know, some man who goes to, you know, grab his girlfriend by the arm as she's walking by because he wants to give her a kiss, and she throws her arm aside because,
It
you
hurts.
know, it's going to hurt her. But she doesn't even know it hurts her because she hasn't been diagnosed. Um, she instinctively does that to protect herself, and he instinctively thinks, oh god, she doesn't, oh, she's, you know, she doesn't, she's not interested, oh, here we go, oh, whatever. And just that one little piece, like, guess what, that could hurt her, or,
Yeah.
you know, she doesn't even know it, and neither do you. And so and unfortunately, you know, I don't like to admit stereotypical things, but I think I have to on this one. I think that, you know, this is a woman's issue, and women's issues still do not get taken as seriously as men's issues or men's voices in relation to medical care. And so I think that if we can get some men's eyes on this as a real issue and a concern for the people that they love, then there's going to be more eyes on it as well. It's going to be taken more seriously than if just, you know, all the women showed up at the doctor's office and be like, I have this thing, and then all the doctors don't know anything about it. So they're just like, you know, the usual, you're crazy, and go diet and exercise and come back. And
You were
move
really
on.
fortunate to connect with some amazing medical professionals. One of the things that breaks my heart is so many of the women I talk to have been not even been able to get a diagnosis, haven't been able to get any real direction medically, except from what they're Googling and finding out that way.
Right. I mean, there was somebody a few weeks ago who said, well, the good thing is that, you know, this is one of the few conditions that you can self-diagnose via Dr. Google, which I thought was really funny. But which was sort of, you know, to Dr. Eicher's point. She was like, you've read it all, you know it all. Why do you even need a diagnosis? You know, kind of thing. But we do need a diagnosis, because if at any point we're going to go down the surgical route, we need to have it recorded that this is what we have, this is what we've done, this is why. So there is a reason to actually get a diagnosis. Anybody who is, you know, in the middle of America where there isn't anybody and they don't have the means to travel to go to someone, get in those groups, follow the advice. You know, read the papers, read the recommendations and get all the books, and you can start, you can make a change. So you can be your own, and you do have to be your own advocate in this. Many of us walk into the doctor's office with flyers so that we can educate the doctors or tell them what websites to go to, or tell them which other physicians to reach out to. So there is that, but it is a very small community of doctors that have any knowledge of this disease at all. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the education piece, a lot.
Well, people like you.
And then we have to convince people to become providers. So there's I think we're at the beginning stages of really being onto something. It's been around since 1940 that anybody had written anything about it. How it took till 10 years ago to get any kind of diagnosis in the United States, I have no idea. But it's encouraging, and really I don't have a daughter, but I can already see girls in my son's middle school. I can see them already. And I'm thinking, oh goodness, if we can only get to those girls to let them know that it's okay, they're okay, they're going to be fine if they just start paying attention and really working on these things, like do their dry brushing every day and do their pool exercise and get a vibration plate and maybe wear some, they all mostly wear leggings nowadays anyway, but, maybe try to get the strongest ones,
Yeah. Impression. And if you can address some of these things early on, you can forestall it from progressing, which is a good thing. Not because of the body issues. And I think that's something I've learned, and I want to underscore over and over again. It isn't about the body size. It's to be able to be mobile and pain-free and healthy. Those are the important things. You're beautiful as is, whatever shape, whatever size. You are beautiful, you are worthy, but taking care of yourself is paramount. We are running out of time. And Curvy Girl, if you have any parting thoughts for our audience, what would they be?
I think that we really are all perfect, and it kind of kills me whenever I see people, talking about being, oh, I'm perfectly imperfect. There was a minute where I was into that. I thought that's a good thing. And I was like, oh, that's not even true, because we are really all perfect in the moment for where we are. And if we could all just give ourselves the credit, and really relish in our uniqueness, it's a different game. It is truly a different game to be on the other side of acceptance. And once you get there, you're so much freer, and so much, you're just so much kinder and gentler to yourself that, sure, that doesn't mean that every minute of every day you have to love every single aspect of yourself. That's, that's never going to happen, because that's not the world that we live in. But if you could really consider that you could actually give yourself some kudos, you could talk to yourself like you would talk to your friend, it would be amazing. And, for anybody who is living with this condition, just remember that it is you need daily self-care, and you have to make the time for it, and you have to put yourself first, because you can't actually help anybody else that might be counting on you if you're not at your best. And, I think movement for sure is key. Whatever you can do to reduce your inflammation is key. And that's, I don't know, that's really my go-tos to help continue. And I think one of the things that I did that I didn't say is that I really think that if you actually take pictures of yourself just for yourself, nobody else, and you look at them, you can start to understand your body, and you can start to learn to love aspects of it. And then from that, it can grow. And I think that that's just a little side tip of how do I get to the acceptance piece.
That's really an inspiring note to end on. How can people follow you? Where did they find you, Beth?
So my biggest following is on Instagram at Curvy Girl Beth, all one word strewn together. I do have a Curvy Girl Beth page on Facebook now that is starting up. It kind of mirrors Instagram. However, it has a little bit more lipedema information thrown in. And then I've started a TikTok about, I don't know, a month ago maybe. And so that's just a little silly bit for me. And I do have a YouTube page that is not quite up and running, it has a couple of things out there. And I think if you Google Curvy Girl Beth, you can find a few bits from interviews that I've done. I've done a bunch of different interviews around, and I just don't have it all orchestrated in one place yet, but there's stuff there too.
Well, you cannot Google lipedema without seeing something come up about Curvy Girl Beth, and now I know why. Thank you so much. You're inspiring, and you're a great voice that deserves a platform, and we're so happy that you joined us today, Beth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for having me as well. Thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, and so glad that you all could join us today for this edition of another lipedema woman's story, her journey. If you want to find out anything more about the women that we're interviewing, or about Medical Solutions Supplier or LymphaPress, feel free to reach out and contact us. Oh, and if you have an idea for someone that should be one of our interviews, please send me their information. It seems like this is going to go on way past Lipedema Awareness Month. So have a great day, everybody. And thank you, Beth. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.